Hello, everyone. Did the session started?
Yes, we are starting in a minute.
Okay, sure. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the demo. We will start the session. So in general demos, right, where we see like there is a understanding of what is the course and all that stuff. I'll try to cover that in the later part of this session. But first, let us quickly jump into an application, try to see like firsthand, how do we build a AI application. And then I'm using a tool called as Voice Flow. This is a no code UI tool. And there is a workflow which I've created. And using this workflow, we'll be able to create a quick chatbot. And this is chatbot for Tata hospitals. I have created it as uh, a test dummy chatbot where it is helping us to book a appointment with Dr. Sai Kumar. Okay. So let me run this and I show you an example, and then we'll walk through the flow and understand the power of generative AI. Okay. So let me quickly do a test run. So once I invoke the session, then it says that welcome to Tata Hospitals. I'll help you to schedule a meeting with Dr. Sai
We
Kumar.
have phone.
And then
Car, mommy.
request everybody to go on
I
mute.
think in the pharmacy side only. No.
Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Say somebody's commenting that they just see a blank screen. Okay. Let me change the setting for. So if you guys are not speaking, request you go on mute. Thank you. All right. So what we are looking at it is a quick chatbot which I built. This is using generative AI in the backend. It is connecting to the LLMs. It is doing all the good stuff. It tries to understand the intent. It tries to understand the utterances, get the relevant information, and calls a backend database or does all these functionality and then books an appointment. So at the start of the chatbot, it says, it gives a greeting, and then it says what would you like to what day would you like to book an appointment? Okay, I'll say that I am having a bad stomach ache. Even if you do spelling mistakes, it is okay. It will understand. Ache, and I would like to consult. So I say I am having a bad headache because stomach ache, and I would like to consult. So forget about these spell mistakes. It is okay. It will still work. Okay, now when I call that, it is basically doing some behind the scenes. So I'm just put the display on. So it is trying to give all the information, like what is it trying to do, which GPT it is calling. No, it is calling a GPT 3.4, 3.5 Turbo. And what it is trying to gather, it is trying to gather information, and it is trying to provide the availability. So it says we have availability on April 19th, 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 5 p.m. So that is good. I can say like I want an immediate appointment. Okay, I say like I want an immediate appointment. Then let us see what does it respond. So it says that I understand you need an immediate appointment. Can you please let me know what time works best for you today? Okay, I say, please book at 9 a.m. A response saying that please book at 9 a.m. And then when it received the selected time, so as you see, it is trying to look for the selected time. And then when it received the selected time, which is nothing but 9 a.m., so the selected time is 9 a.m., then it understood, and then it goes to the next flow. It says that, can I get your name and email address? Then I say my name is Taram, and my email address is, I'll give some dummy email, sitaram @abc.com. Okay. .com. So I give my name and email address. So from this text, right, it has to extract my name exactly and my email address. So that is what the backend LLM generative AI application is doing. So it is getting the exact name and exact email address. And now I can link it with other things. For example, I give this information. I might have to fill the leads database. Okay, the leads database is having about who all contacted the doctor, their name, mobile number, email address, maybe physical address, their problem. And imagine these all information have to be captured whenever the customer is coming to the chatbot. So I can integrate it with the backend API or a database, which can feed the leads information, right? So I have not done that, but I'm just giving the art of possibility. So for now, I'm saying, okay, my name is so-and-so and my email address is so-and-so. And then when I give it, again, it does the call. It tries to extract that information. And here is, you see, extracted entities are email is this one and name is this one. It is also having a rationale saying that user has provided the full name Sitaram and valid email address. If it doesn't provide valid email address, then it will do a reprompting. Okay, both entities are complete, allowing us to proceed the appointment booking. As you see, it basically says that, boss, I have all the information required for booking an appointment. And then let me book an appointment. And finally, it comes to this final state saying that, awesome, your meeting is scheduled. I have sent a confirmation email to so-and-so email. Now, this is a dummy application, but now you look at the art of possibilities. Okay. Imagine you can connect to a backend email server, which sends this email, and then you can compose a nice email saying that your booking is confirmed with so-and-so person, and this is the time of the booking and all that stuff. And then you can give the information to the backend. You can connect to a leads database, I was saying, right? So we are collecting information like email, name. You can also collect like phone number, the reason for appointment and all that stuff. And then you can feed the leads database, and you can invoke an API in the backend, which can connect to the backend leads database and fill that information, right? You can also create a very, very logical flow of saying like you need certain information, and basically depending upon the type of, uh, you know, uh, type of appointment, right? Imagine you want to consult a heart doctor. Imagine you want to consult a oncologist, or maybe an pediatrician, or somebody else, right? So depending upon your symptoms, you can also create a flow in which the route, here we are just taking the time, but you could create it in a way like it can route to appropriate doctor, right? So whatever you are seeing here, okay, we just did a quick 10-minute demo. Whatever you are seeing here is a art of possibilities of what you could do with generative AI, right? I don't want to say like generative AI is so and so and so and so and so and so, while that is more theoretical. But my way of doing is, let us get into the real meat and show you what is possible, right? So let me quickly go through this flow and then link it back with whatever we have done using the chatbot. So what this flow does is, it basically gathers information for booking an appointment. So it starts with a welcome message. If I scroll up, So it starts with a welcome message saying that, okay, welcome to Tata Hospitals. And then you are booking an appointment with Dr. Sai Kumar. And then it asks a question that when do you like to book an appointment? So that is this one. So it routes to the first node, and then it asks for when do you like to book an appointment. It is looking for something called as an utterance. Utterance is nothing but the text which we give as an output. So we are saying that I am having a bad head, stomach ache. I would like to consult a doctor today. So from this entire sentence, the important thing is today, because what we are trying to do is we are trying to know like when you want to book an appointment. Imagine you can say like, I want to book an appointment next Monday at 11 o'clock. So I can give those information as well. But the chatbot or the generative AI application is now fully concentrating on this information today. Imagine you just said that I am having bad stomach ache, I want to consult doctor. Then it will re-prompt saying that when do you like to book an appointment? Okay, it will try to re-prompt. In this particular sentence, you have already given when you wanted to book an appointment, which is today. And that's when the underlying GPT will consume this information, determine that you want to book an appointment today, which is nothing but, okay, my today is already 19th April. So it says 19th April, and then it gives the available slots. Now, this is where you can connect to a backend API. Imagine you have an API where you have integrated with applications like Calendarly and things like that, where it can Google Calendar or some other kind of calendar booking applications, where it can provide you the available dates. Okay, so real available dates. So this system, currently, I'm just giving you a very random information. So this is like, okay, depending upon what day I ask, it is giving me the exact day, but it is randomly giving some times. Okay, 9 a.m., 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. These are random times. But just imagine you integrate the system to a backend application, which is actually retrieving the available date and time, and that feeds into your chatbot. Now, that is again an art of possibility, right? Where the AI is now capable of understanding the context. It is trying to get the information. And then with the relevant information, it does the backend call saying that for Dr. Sai Kumar, please provide me the next available dates on April 19th. Okay, you know that is how the query goes to the backend API. And then it gets the available times. For now, it is like, okay, just giving you a random time. And then what you're again doing is, I'm not giving the exact time. Okay. So I'm not saying, okay, I want to have a booking at 9 a.m., but I did a little detour. What I did, I say, I want an immediate appointment. Immediate doesn't have any relevant time. Like immediate can be 1 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 9 a.m. or even 8 a.m. So this text is not complete. So what it is looking at this particular note is that it needs to find a selected time. So selected time is the one which is trying to extract from. And in this particular sentence, there is no selected time. I want immediate appointment, but there is no immediate appointment. If you come down, it is giving a rationale saying that the user has indicated a need for immediate appointment, but has not specified the time. Since the time is required to proceed the booking, re-prompt the necessary information and gather the information, right? So what it is trying to do is it's trying to re-prompt, and then it will give a re-prompt. So this is a re-prompt which is constructed by the LLM, and it is saying that I understand that there is an immediate need. What time works for you the best, right? So it is again asking me the information. Then I give, please book at 9 a.m. So when I said, please book at 9 a.m., the selected time, 9 a.m. is available. So the purpose of the LLM is to pick up this 9 a.m. information. As you see, if it go down, it says the selected time is 9 a.m. It picked up the extracted entities and then goes to the next flow. Once I get the selected time, I can say I want to gather name and email. Okay, so this is just for booking for Sitaram and so email will be sent to that person. then it extracts these two information, email and name, and then feeds to the end of the loop. So it is asking me the question saying that, great, can I get your name and email address? I have nicely provided the name and email address. Imagine I messed up saying that I only give name, I didn't give the email address. Then again it will reprompt saying that, Sitaram, can you give me your email address so that I can book the appointment? So it will reprompt like in a more natural language text, right? And then finally, it is basically collecting all the extracted information and does the booking. Okay, I just want to give few minutes for any queries you might have with this particular application. What we are seeing here is the art of possibilities of generative AI, where I am not spending so much of time. I am using a very easy way. There is a tool called as voice flow. So that's what I'm using right now. But within our course, what we will learn is how do I create these systems, right? So this is just a plug and play thing, but within the course, we will learn like, how do I create an LLM system? How do I create a system which can understand the utterances, can retrieve extracted entities, can invoke a backend, tables or APIs, and integrate it with the end-to-end application, right? I just want to give a minute for voice is breaking, not clear. Is it same for everyone?
In this case, you really did not create the LLM. Am I right? Like you created a flow, some kind of agent that is using the GPT 3.0 or 3.5, and you created these steps so that based on the response, whatever the underlying LLM that GPT 3.5 collects that your answer, and then see what else is missing. Based on that, it will ask further question and collect that information and try to finish the flow. Am I right?
Perfect. That is a correct understanding.
Okay. And these steps means what day would you like to book your appointment, or do any of those times work, or great, can I get your name and email? These are the things you created this flow.
Yes. We
Okay.
create the flow.
And also this flow, for example, when it is asking, can I get your name, email? Then by default, you are expecting email and name. If any of these two responses you are not getting, then you keep asking, whatever the input user gives. Then once again, you go through the process and identify whether he got that information or not. Otherwise, it will be keep asking that information.
Correct. This particular application, it will do that. It will keep asking you your name again and again. But when you really build a real application, right, then you need to have an intelligent way to determine how many times you ask. And then after say like 3 times of recursive asking, you have to cut that conversation and then come out of the loop or something like that, right? So that is the software engineering piece of it. Like, how do you build that entire application? But in this example, yes, the understanding is correct. So I'm creating the flow. I'm using the power of LLMs to extract right information and then complete the booking. But
and is this flow? I'm sorry, but please go ahead.
No. So that's what I'm saying. But the art of possibility is what we are looking at it. So imagine I have an understanding of how do I invoke the LLMs? How do I create my own functions? Right. So this is more of a plug and play function. I can build a simple flower booking application for that. But my enterprises do not have a straightforward, simple application. I might have to create much more complex applications. That's when we deep delve into the underlying coding, understand, okay, how do I invoke this so-and-so function, so-and-so LLM, what all things I need to collect from it, what information it requires, how do I fine tune it so that it performs the best, All that information is required so that we build that holistic application, right?
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Any other questions? All right, so perfect. So let me quickly jump into another piece of demo. So my way of giving demos will be very straightforward, where we'll try to get into more meat of it.
Hi, Sitaram.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
So, do we have the other use cases as well? Like one is the chat application that you demoed.
Hmm.
But other use cases where we can put in this generative AI.
Yeah. There are many applications. For example, creating knowledge bases, summarizing documents. So we have created one application where we need to load all the internal policy documents. And from the policy documents, we will have policy amendments, document updation, knowledge extraction, and things like that. So those are like other use cases. For example, I have like 1,000-pager policy document. I need to ask questions to the document saying that can this particular credit card agent or can this particular type of credit card use these features, or does it have free golf lessons or free golf things, right? And what is the discount percentage for so and so credit card? How many points they will earn? So these are some of the questions which are very intuitive or very specific to a particular document. So when we load these large volume documents, you can create a system where you can query that document and get relevant information. That is one such application. One other interesting application which we have built is when you are looking at enterprises, they have a lot of amendments. For example, I say, I have a policy document and I have to amend a new change or regulation to that document. So I can give an example of one change is like 2,000 rupees note. I'm taking an Indian example, but can look at a US example as well. But just imagine that 2,000 rupees note is disconnected on so and so date. Now this is the amendment. This amendment has to be put in all my legal documents. Now imagine a person has to do this. He or she has to have a knowledge of where all this amendment has to be put, and then intelligently it has to go and blend that amendment within the document, right? So this is a huge tedious task. So using LLMs and using generative AI, we have built a system in which any new amendments come, it can scan all the documents and apply the amendment within the necessary place, and then create a draft document for review for a human. So it will go through a human review saying that this is the place where we have identified the amendment. This is where the amendment is correctly placed. And then the human reviews the amendments and finally approves the legal document. So this is another example. Like this, there are a lot many examples. I can go on talking about it, but I hope you get an idea. All right.
Hi.
Hi, Sitaram. So, are you also using any examples like how we can refactor a code base by using instruction files with prompts and everything? So, are you covering any of the scenarios too?
Yeah, that's what we are calling as vibe coding these days, where we try to use LLMs and generative AI for coding, reviewing, even test case creation also. So
Yes.
yes, we will have one entire section for generative AI. Now this course is a holistic course. It talks both generative AI as well as classical machine learning. While this generative AI is very fancy, many people are jumping onto it, but the real money is coming from the classical machine learning. So we will cover the both ends of the spectrum. We'll start with, I'll go through the course curriculum in a minute. This particular today's demo will go a little extended. Please bear with me because we will have not many questions. So we'll spend few minutes to understand that. So our course will cover the entire spectrum of artificial intelligence. So we'll cover what we call as classical machine learning and also the generative AI concepts. Classical machine
Yeah.
learning talks about, how do you build predictive applications? How do we create those end-to-end predictive applications? That is the piece of it. Where generative AI talks about the newer capabilities, like we are saying about how do we create automated coding assistants or test case generators or the ones which we have seen like automated booking application, chatbot. So all those things we will learn during the course.
And do you recommend any forums or something where there are so many advanced techniques or useful AI tools? So are you covering those things as part of the session as well?
We will cover the regular trends I follow. So where do I follow and how? But as you see, that's an ongoing process, right? Things are changing at a very fast pace. DeepSeek has come, then Quan models have come, Llama 4 has come, and tomorrow's Llama 5 can come, DeepSeek 2.5 can come. So there's a lot of changes happening, the way in which the applications are built. We will cover about some of these places where we can get this information, keep the trend up and running. But again, it's a moving target.
Thank you.
Any other questions, or else I'll quickly jump to another presentation.
No, here you have used ChatGPT as the backend processor, right? So if you use Gemini or any other DeepSeek, will there going to be any change in the how the prompting is working, or is it the results will be same?
There are slight changes in the way we prompt Gemini model and OpenAI, and we have other models like Claude, Llama, DeepSeek, and so on. Pretty much they are following the OpenAI standard for underlying LLM calling, but some prompts are different. For example, how do I create the what we call as user information, system information, and some of the hyperparameters. So slight changes are there between LLMs, but the standards perspective, everybody is coming together to create a very common standard. I think it is leaning towards the OpenAI standard of invocation of LLMs so that it becomes unified across LLMs. But at this moment, there are slight variations. So you can build a framework in which you say like, okay, I can call OpenAI, Gemini, and something else. But depending upon what we want to invoke, it would use the corresponding mechanism to call the underlying LLM.
Great, thank you.
All right, then. Thank you. Let me quickly jump into another blank screen. Generally, my entire sessions will use this kind of a blackboard or a blue board where I'll try to explain the concepts. So today we'll quickly understand about something called as practical AI. You can say practical AI, practical data science, practical machine learning, and things like that. But here the intent is to talk about the entire end-to-end flow, and we'll cover different pieces of the equation. So this will go for another 30 minutes. Kindly hold with me. After 30 minutes, we will have question answers, and then we'll take it forward. Okay, so this is an example I generally give. Imagine we are taking a time machine and going 20 years before. Around 2000, 2005, that time frame. And then we are looking at an example of a bank. So you have a bank called as ABC Bank. And this ABC Bank is doing regular operations. So in the year 2000, 2005, if you remember, the banks are like pretty much straightforward. They are, that's when the early entrants of web applications came into picture, but banks are operating. And if you take any example of this bank, the mode of operation is like people are going to the bank, withdrawing money, depositing money. They are opening some fixed deposits or applying for a loan and so on. So if you look at regular transactions of this bank, they store all these transactions in what we call as ODS, operational data stores. So a teller will be there. He or she will be doing regular transactions, withdrawing money, depositing money, and so on. All those transactions we used to store in ODSs, which are relational database management systems, RDB. I messed up with B, but DBMS. So relational database management systems are typically the Oracles and MySQLs and things like that. So they are responsible for storing all the transaction information. And once we store the transaction information, you can employ people who can analyze the data. Imagine the CEOs or CXOs wanted to analyze the health of the bank. Then what they do is they will basically try to analyze like what is happening with the bank, and they will employ data analyst or data scientist. What they do is they run SQL queries. So SQL queries are run on these RDBMSs. And what the SQL queries do is it will try to understand like what is the average balance of the bank, how many people deposited money, how much is the withdrawal from the bank, how many loans are opened, what is the average loan approval rate. So all those things we can run SQL queries, and you can read the ODSs, which are the operational data stores, and then you can gather information, right? Once you are gathering the information, you can create reports, you can create some visualizations, you can create some charts, and then you can send it to the senior executives. But what happened is around the 2000-2005 time frame, there were two important things which happened. One is the adoption of internet, and the other one is the geographical expansion. Right. So while these SQL queries are running on the ODSs, they were creating some bottlenecks to the regular transactions which are happening. So people are like doing regular transactions like deposit, and so on. They are kind of hampering the regular transactions while these long-running SQL queries are running on the ODSs. So it's creating overhead and so on. So because of that, people decided that, okay, let me not run the SQL queries during the day. Imagine the normal business hours are 9 to 5. So let us not run during the normal business hours, but let us run these jobs in the nightly fashion. So that's when the nightly jobs came into picture. So nightly jobs are nothing but the jobs which will run during the night or during the off business hours. And these jobs will basically create the same analytical queries, trying to get more analytics from the databases. They still run on the same databases, but they will run during the off business hours. Imagine 9 to 5 is the business hours. They run during the night times, say like 8 o'clock in the evening, midnight, or maybe early morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So these are the nightly jobs. And if you are familiar, if you're also old like me, you might have be witnessing these jobs, right? People run a lot of nightly jobs. There are support systems equipped, and people are monitoring those jobs and so on. For many years, even today, these nightly jobs are popular, and these jobs run on the actual databases. But what happened is the two things which happened, I was saying, which is the adoption of internet. And then second one is the geographical expansion. So what does this say is because internet was so prevalent, everybody is going on to websites, everybody going on mobiles and so on. And also geographical expansion. That means that companies which were set up in one geography, say like US, they have expanded to other geographies. They have expanded their locations to Australia, to Dubai, to UK, and to India and other places. So both of these have created problem. The problem is that there was no such lean period. Lean period in sense the time during which I can run my nightly jobs. So there was no such lean period where I can run my nightly job, right? So because if it is a day in US, it is night in Australia. If it is a day in Dubai, it is night in US. So there was no such period where I can say that, boss, this is a time where nobody else is active. The entire market is down, or entire customers are not using it, and that's when I can run my jobs. Right? So there was no such lean period, and because of which people created something called as data warehousing systems. I hope many of you guys are familiar with this. They are called as DWH, or data warehousing systems. Now, the primary purpose of creating the data warehousing systems is like, boss, I can't use the ODSs, I can't use the operational data stores for doing analysis. So let me offload my data and then put it as a warehousing data. So I clearly decouple the front-end tables and the back-end tables. I can say that, okay, I create my replica, and then I use a process called as ETL, extract, transform, and load, where I transform the data from your front-end tables, the operational data stores, and put the data into warehousing tables, right? So, and the nightly jobs used to run on the warehousing tables rather than running on the actual tables. Now, this has created great flexibility, because now I no longer have to say that my job has to run only in the midnight. It can run any time of the day because it is running on the warehousing tables. It does not have any link between your front-end tables. That is one great advantage. Second great advantage is that these warehousing tables were also capable of storing historical data. That means that it can store the data of last year, 5 years back, last month, and so on. So when it stores that historical data, it can also do the delta comparison. You can say, what is the sales of my product this month when compared to the sales in last year? What is the monthly average balance of this week when compared to last 5 weeks? So you can do these kind of comparisons. You can do this kind of analytical queries where people are very comfortable in creating these analytical queries. Right. So around 2010 and so on, this is how the very, very ideal way of doing analytics. People were doing analytics in this way. But one thing again changed during that time frame is the adoption of big data, right? So data warehousings are very good for storing structured data in rows and columns, a very nice structured RDBMS kind of a format. But when it comes for unstructured data with respect to, say, like images, videos, text data, sensor information, structured, semi-structured, all combinations, data warehouses were not the right suit, right? That's when the data lakes came into picture. So data lakes, primarily they started with something like Hadoop. So this Hadoop is a system where it was storing both structured and unstructured information. Lot of large volumes data processing was happening. You can store, flat files. You can store data from mainframe. You can store the data from your call logs, your, video, audio information, capturing the images of checks, any photographs. All that information now is being fed into these unstructured data sources, predominantly big data kind of sources. Hadoops are predominantly put into on-prem systems, but with the adoption of cloud, for example, we have AWS or Azure or say GCP, we were able to use cloud systems for storing this unstructured data, right? So we have created these data lakes. All these data lakes are now capable of storing large volume data. You can store videos. You can store, say, music files. You can store video. You can store text data, large volume text processing. You can store some sensor informations. So all these data sources, you are able to create systems where you can feed data. Now, the textual data can be from a mainframe system. It can be from your system logs. It can be from a call transcript, right? So the sky is the limit where we are able to create the systems. Now, this space, right? The space where you are creating large volume data storages along with compute, this entire space is called as data engineering. And this is very, very essential for the entire AI system, because unless until you have ability to store data, you have ability to do transformations on the data, compute the data, you would not be able to do large volume processing, right? You will not be able to create any AI systems which can intelligently work for you. You need to have this storage available. Once we have data in a raw format, then there are next connected systems. For example, you need to do analysis of the data. So there is visualizations and other things coming into picture. We call it as exploratory data analysis, or we also call it as EDA. So exploratory data analysis, nothing but how do we use visualizations? So visualizations can be used via some third-party tools like Tableau, ClickView, or we can use Python for creating those visualizations. But this will help us to understand the patterns of the data. What is my data trying to tell? Like, what are the relations between my data columns and all that stuff, which will help us to visualize the data and then create some meaningful outcomes from the data. The next step after doing visualization is to create something called as features or feature engineering. And we create something called as feature stores. So feature stores are nothing but reusable outputs of my data. For example, I had a lot of information coming from my text data or my structured data using warehouses and so on. We store the raw data in data lakes. But now I want to create reusable features so that I can use those features in my AI systems, in my machine learning systems. Now you create reusable feature components so that those features can be used not only by your application, but it can also be used by any other applications. So we do a lot of data transformations. We do a lot of table munging. You can join multiple tables, remove columns, do some kind of aggregations, and then finally creates the features. Features are more aggregated, more fine-tuned, polished versions of my data so that I can directly use them for doing my machine learning processing. That's where your feature stores come into picture. Once I understand about the feature stores, that's when comes the central piece, which is called as modeling. Modeling is nothing but you try to use a lot of algorithms. There are supervised, unsupervised. There's deep learning. There's Gen AI. All these are the subsets of your modeling techniques. The modeling is where you're trying to use some of the available algorithms and try to do a lot of AI, ML, Gen AI capabilities, right? So this is one of the central piece of the entire life cycle. But as you see that this is not the only process. We just need to understand these into deeper sense. Like how do you apply supervised machine learning? How do we apply unsupervised machine learning, deep learning, and so on? But this is just one part of the equation. Once you apply the algorithms, now today it is a very, very high level. Please try to understand it at a very high level. But eventually, as we go deeper into the course, I will talk about how do we do supervised machine learning algorithms? How do we do unsupervised machine learning algorithms? How do we apply generative AI? All that stuff we will cover in a very deeper manner. But for now, just understand that, okay, we have something called as modeling, which is one part of the Lego block, and which need to be understood, where we try to create algorithms, we try to create systems which can do future predictions, do summarizations, aggregations, and so on. Many a times people just stop here, right? Even if you go for some of the very good courses, practical courses, people say that, you apply some algorithm and then you get some accuracy and then you are done. And even in enterprises, the projects are dying because 90% of the projects are dying at the POC stage because they are not productionizing the systems. They need to productionize the system so that real use cases use your algorithms, real use cases use your models, and get real benefits, right? The ROI is only possible when you productionize this model. That's when the deployment comes into picture. So we have another important piece, predominantly nobody covers it, which is called as deployment. Deployment is into two different cases. One is a batch deployment, and the second one is the online deployment. Online, or we call it as REST deployment. Right? So deployment is nothing but, I have my model available. Now, how do so the deployment, I'm sorry, there is it's not break. Okay. So there can be so there is somebody's voice is breaking. Please check your internet. I think it is clear for others. So deployment is what I'm talking is a piece what we call as ML ops. That means that I have my model available. Now I want to deploy it in a batch application. Batch application will be like a batch job, which is, imagine in a bank, everybody is collecting the applications for loan during the day. So there is a batch job which collects the application during the day. And in the end of the day, it runs a ML model in the backend to predict whether the applicant has to be approved or rejected. Okay. So imagine during the day, it gets 100 applications. Out of the 100 applications, we run the batch job. It invoke a model. The model can be in some kind of a cloud provider. Say I say AWS has this model, and we are invoking the batch job in an AWS environment. And then it picks the model file, and then it does the prediction. So it does the prediction saying that, okay, 100 applications are there. Out of the 100 applications, 82 applications are approved, other applications are rejected. So it can further invoke another downstream job, which can send emails to the applicants who are approved, and then it does the further processing. So batch processing is nothing but you are scheduling jobs, and during the job processing, you are invoking the machine learning model and doing the prediction and giving back the result. That is a batch mode. The online mode is also called as a REST mode, where you are creating some kind of APIs. You create API, a REST API, which can be invoked by a front-end system, mobile application, or a web service. So imagine you have a website which is invoking the API, and then you have an application where you're collecting name, bank balance, and other things, and you have a submit button. So you can submit the button, and then once you submit the button, all the details which are collected will be directly given to a online model will do the prediction then and there. So you can have a web application where you can feed all the information and submit the application, and immediately you will get a result in the next page saying that congratulations, Sitaram, your loan is approved and you are getting so and so amount, right? So that is a online mode. Right? So how do we deploy using batch mode? How do you deploy using online mode? That's what we are going to learn in deployment. Once you're done the deployment, another important piece which many people don't talk is about monitoring your applications. For example, monitoring talks about after you have deployed the application, what is the current state of your model? Is your model performing according to your requirements? Imagine, say in January, you have deployed one application, and now you want to understand that the one we have deployed, is it working according to your requirements? Is there any change in the model parameters? Is there any change in the underlying data? Are the results as per the expectation? When you're comparing the real ground truth and the predicted outputs, are they correct? So all these things are very important, because you can't just deploy a AI application and just leave it like that. You need to continuously monitor the application and see whether it is adhering to your project requirements. So there are two core components in the monitoring. One is called as explainability. One is called as explainability, and the second one is called as fairness. So explainability talks about if a model is giving some prediction, on what basis did the model give the prediction, right? So it needs to have a clear explanation, so that if there are any some legal consequences and so on, we can clearly use this information to get back that get back that understanding. That is the explainability concept. We have a lot of parameters which can gauge the explainability information, and you can use that data. Then the second one is called as fairness, which talks about how is my model fair to all data. There is no bias. For example, I apply for a loan, and imagine my wife also apply for a loan, and we both have same educational qualifications. We both work for similar kind of companies. Our salary ranges are same. All things are same, but my loan is approved and her loan is rejected. Imagine that happens, then there is a bias in the data. The models pretty much have this issue of getting into biases because they are being trained by the data which they are fed with, and many times the data will also have bias. So we need to gauge this information. We need to monitor the bias throughout the life cycle of the project to see whether the model is not having any bias with respect to demographics, gender, caste, creed, and different other parameters, right? So explainability is important, fairness is important, and overall monitoring of my AI product is quite important. And last but not the least, the governance piece of it, we generally called as AI protocol. Is like the AI governance is one piece, and AI quality. Quality is where you will do the testing of your AI models, where you try to apply all the best frameworks which are available in quality assurance and testing the AI functions and so on. So that is where the AI quality comes into place. And AI governance talks about the ROI, the finance angles of it, the audit angles of it, and all that stuff. See, the project is only successful when it is generating revenue, right? So we have to have a system where it is trying to gauge all this information, saying that what is the project about, what are the key data points it is capturing, Are there any data quality concerns or issues available? Can the model use all this information and all? How much ROI is it generating? And is that ROI, is the ROI, uh, the ROI generated, is it really worth it, right? Because imagine I put a AI model and then it uses 1 million for entire AI model because of infrastructure, the AI calls I'm doing, the models which I'm invoking, and so on. It consumes $1 million per year, imagine, and it only generates $10,000 as a return, right? So there is no reason, unless until somebody's egos will be satisfied, but there is no reason to continue such project, which is spending a lot of money but not generating any revenue. So all these informations have to be tracked at a larger space, and that's where the AI governance is very important, right? So we spend 30 minutes. I promise that next 30 minutes will be covering the entire spectrum. And thank you for patiently listening. So I hope you understood the entire spectrum. So all the components we will be covering during the course. Our course will be for 2 months. Let me quickly write about what we are going to cover. This is a 2-month course. And the course will be from Monday, regular weekdays, Monday to Fridays. Generally, it will be for 45 minutes plus 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. Earlier sessions will be a little longer. So the demos and the first few sessions, there will be a lot of queries. So earlier sessions will be longer, but as we graduate, you will be seeing that we will be covering 1 hour content every day. The course timing will be 7 a.m. IST. So I am in the India time zone, so it is my 7 a.m. IST. So depending upon your time zone, whether you are in Eastern time zone, Western time zone, Central time zone, depending upon what time zone you are in, you can map it accordingly. It will be my 7 a.m. IST. It will be for 1 hour. And the topics, whatever we will be covering, will be classical. Okay, first we'll cover Python for data science. So we'll cover base Python plus classical ML plus generative AI. I just wrote these 3 words, but these 3 words will consume 2 months worth of content. There's a lot of practical content. Most of my sessions will be like these blue boards. It will be very extempore in nature. We'll be covering based on your questions. I'll be covering those answers. So most of the session will be in this kind of a fashion, right? So I'll open up for any questions. We'll spend like 10-15 minutes. If you have any questions, please.
Good morning, Siddharam. This is Suresh.
Very good morning.
I just joined a little late, actually. Sorry for that. So you missed this topic or not? Who are the eligible or who need prerequisites to understand your topics and sessions? Do you have any barcodes or any limitations or expectations to have this session, or any layman can take the session?
Yeah.
With
So
a minimum ID.
minimum criteria. So I will talk about minimum criteria. So we'll be covering Python for data science. That is the basic we will start with. In the next 1 week, we'll be covering foundational understanding of AI, machine learning, data science, and we'll iron out all those understanding. But the week after, we'll start Python for data science, which will cover from basics of Python. But it will not cover the language part of it. For example, how do you create functions using Python? How do you write the programming constructs and so on? So any understanding of any programming language is some kind of a prerequisite, right? So even in the
Let
past,
me,
yeah,
sorry, Sitaram. Let me ask my question in another way. About 30 people are in the session. I don't know who is having with what experience and all. Coming to myself, 25th or 26th year IT with ERP knowledge. Okay, I'm doing already as a delivery manager in some particular company in ERP section. So my question is, how this particular thing will be helpful in my career or in my role, or it will be another thing I am learning in IT.
yeah. See, I have done this course for many times, students, and
Yeah.
there is a blend of students. So there are people who are quite experienced, 20 plus years experienced. Some people who are in 10 years experience. Some people are freshers right after college, like say they MS and they are getting into H1 and job and so on. So there is an entire spectrum of people. What I generally do is, as we go through the course, we will try to blend it to have it from very basics to advanced level, and we will have focus sessions specifically, again case on case basis, depending upon people experience, expertise, and so on. So for example, somebody from a product background, delivery background, or they already have quite experience like you, they wanted to pivot into say AI, or AI head of AI delivery of product manager for AI and things like that, right? So for them, this course will teach the entire spectrum, like how the industry is moving, what coding practices are used, what type of product can be built, necessary governance-based things which need to be captured, and all that stuff. So for that, your past experience will help, right? So you have ERP experience, you have other experience. Somebody comes from mainframe background, somebody are coming from QA background, somebody is coming from pure data background. So depending upon the people, the experience they're coming from, they have to utilize that and then use that for pivoting into AI, right? Many times what I've seen is people have pivoted within their organization into the different team, which is using their current experience and creating products like, say like ERP systems, you want to create an AI-based product which runs on your core system. Imagine you are ideating on such kind of a product. How yourself can get into that frame, and you might not be doing the coding, but you need to direct people to do necessary coding, right? So juniors and so on. So that is how people prepare.
Why I ask you that question, Sitaram,
Mhm.
after having this much experience, I'm feeling couple of terminologies, they are just bounced out of my knowledge. So if the new freshers are coming and joining this session, is it comfortable to cope up and understanding the things and move on the things?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not trying to criticize anything, just I'm trying to explain my situation.
No, very valid, very valid, Suresh. So I see that many times we have that kind of thing because this is new for us, and it would require some time and effort. So what I say is, first we have to have that intent, clear outcome. Like after 3 months, what is that we are going to get from this course, right?
Correct. After spending this much time and yeah.
3 to 6 months is the time frame we have to keep. Very strong time frame, saying that okay,
Mhm.
after 3 to 6 months, this is what I want to do. You need to have that clarity first. If we don't have that clarity, I would not say don't join the course and spend your money, time, effort, your time, my time, everybody's time, right? So
Yeah.
I would not say like pitch the course saying that it is for everybody and everybody join, and that's not the motto. We need to have a clear view of like say 3 to 6 months time, that this is where I would like to pivot, or using my current experience, this is what I want to do, or that is what we need to have a little clarity. If you don't have, we will have maybe one-on-one session, we will do some kind of discussions and so on to see like where we have to pitch. And this is not just for you, but for the entire 30 people who are listening to me right now, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a different pace. Everybody have a different appetite, learning, time, effort. Everybody is different. So, but for all of you, one common thing should be that, see, I spent 2 months on this. Maybe I spend 1 or 2 months again to brushing up, create some kind of outcome and so on. But the 3 to 6 month time frame, you need to have a very clear view. You might be looking for some job change, right? So if you are looking for job change within the geography, what are the jobs which are being offered? You need to create right from day one. You need to do that analysis right from day one. As I showed in the previous slide, right, there are different job opportunities. So there are job opportunities for data engineering. The central piece is where you have data scientist. This piece is called as ML engineer. ML engineer does the deployment and monitoring and all that stuff, all deployments and so on. This is the ML tester. So I would recommend people to enter the right doors, right? So if somebody coming from the QA background, they need to enter this way. Somebody coming from an application development background, they need to enter through the data scientist path. Somebody coming from a DevOps background, they need to enter the ML engineering path. DevOps in sense, DevOps, Kubernetes, are creating Jenkins, pipelines, and all that knowledge, right? They need to enter this path, become an ML engineer, and eventually become a data scientist or a full stack data scientist. Somebody coming from an data warehousing background, data background, ERP background, or enterprise data management background, they need to enter this path. They need to enter the data engineering space and then get into this kind of. People also have cloud knowledge. So they have cloud application developers. They can enter either in the data engineering space or the ML engineering space. So that's what I'm saying. So depending upon your skill set, you need to have a very clear vision of what we are going to do after 3 months, so that whatever you learn during this course, right, it will be beneficial for you. So, that is my personal view. Finance background, maybe I might have to get more details. It's a pure play finance background. There are people from finance, HR, and kind of other applications who are working as product managers. So you need to see if you are having any programmatic experience, then you can get into core program. But if we have like product experience, you might become the product. So we have roles called as technical product owner. Okay, technical product owners are the ones who are having domain backgrounds, and they are creating AI applications. They will give requirements on how to create application, what to do, and so on. So that is how we have to venture into.
Hi, Sitaram. This is Sunil.
Yes.
Sitaram, I'm into service delivery, where I'll be like taking care of application support and handling incident management, request management, change management, and problem management activities. So where does this role fit in this entire thing which you're talking about? Because I understand about the ML engineer, the ML tester, and other things, but in application support, once the application is launched, then once it moved to production, then it is considered as production support, where we own the production systems. And then if there are any functional issues or any issues related to database or jobs or service failures or anything which is not working as expected, then it comes into the production issue, and then we kind of have the SLAs, and we kind of fix within those SLAs depending on the severity of the issues.
Yes.
So I was trying to understand, like, you have really explained in a very clear way, where we can understand what are the different types of roles, and like who will fit into what kind of roles. But I'm trying to understand, as a service delivery manager, where will my activities come into.
Yeah, so let me break the ice for you. We are building one product which basically automates everything in the SRE space, the service support space, and so on. Can AI work as an SRE engineer and determine failures, trying to come up with SLA based responses, come with root cause analysis, and automatically detect failures and respond to that? So this is a bigger question. Now, many companies are trying to get some hands into that, but I can confidently say that in another 1 to 2 years, we will be seeing a lot of automation created in that space. For example, you can do a lot of log analysis. There are AI systems which were fed with a lot of logs, and we can analyze logs and come up with root cause analysis. We are creating systems for support engineers, like a question answer system, which can have a backend knowledge base of past thousands of CRs and thousands of incident tickets, and can give
Right.
meaningful answers on, given this particular error, this particular response, what should be the action. It gives in a very
Yeah, I think that is already been implemented like a lot of organizations, because I have done for my organization where it'll identify the key words in that question or the queries, whatever the customer asks, and then based on that, it will fetch the the documents and provide the self-help documents where the customer can actually go through that, and then he can do the analysis. And it will also ask whether the document is helpful. If you click on yes, then it will say okay, thank you.
Perfect.
And if you say no, then it will again search for the next best document available, and it will provide. And like we can mention like 3 attempts, 5 attempts, and after that it will route the customer to the support executive.
Correct. So those are pre-built systems. Now those are
Correct.
getting enhanced with generative AI right now. Okay. So
Right.
it might be rule-based systems which are built, but now they are getting enhanced with generative AI. Now, can we say, like, after this root cause analysis, can we automatically trigger something? For example, the CPU went up. Can we trigger backend commands like create agents, like support agents, which can do like management of infrastructure, which can do management of some kind of cleanup activity, or some kind of database restarts, or server restarts, VM restarts. Okay, so all these can be automated, and we are building systems to do those things, not just giving question answer, but also doing automation on the fly. Maybe we might need a human in the loop to verify the automation, but eventually it will. Those are the things we are trying to see, right? But to answer you, there is a lot of space which is being experimented in that space, at least the support space, network space, automation space, infra space, where the AI products are coming up. As a delivery manager, you can identify with your previous expertise, right? Can you create those products? Can you lead the products, right? After 2 or 3 years, those roles are going to become very bleak. Don't scold me or don't curse me for that. That's the reality. So you have to pivot into certain different roles where you have the knowledge of AI, you know how the product works, and then now you're creating systems where you are not on the other side, but you are in the side where no knowledge, right? If you've heard what Jensen Hong was saying, he says that AI is not going to replace the jobs, but people who know AI will replace the jobs, right? So we need to be the other side of the spectrum, right? So, all right. So that is the answer. I think there's one more question on, so BTech students, I think Shujan is asking. So for somebody who's a BTech student, this course will be end to end. You will be knowing from a data science AI perspective. What I recommend who are in the fresher category, like 1 year to 5 year category, is you guys have to do a lot of projects. So during the course, we will be going through a lot of modules. I would encourage them to do a lot of projects. They need to build up their GitHub profile. They have to be very active on LinkedIn. They need to build their portfolio in such a way that they can pitch to the jobs. there are a lot of jobs available, but the only issue is that we are not able to reach the jobs. People want talented professionals, but there is the bridge between us identifying as a talented professional is missing. Now, during the course, we'll be learning a lot of things, but I want serious promise from you guys saying that whoever in the fresher category, okay, either freshers or up to 5 years, is that you need to do a lot of projects. During the course, I will do a lot of projects and I want you to give serious time to build the products, build the projects, create your GitHub profile, and then pitch in a right sense. Only if you promise to do this, then you have to enter this course, right? So, if you don't do this, nobody will be able to know like who you are, what you're bringing to the table and so on. Many people ask me that, will you give a certification for this course, right? Certification is again a piece of paper, anybody can give it, but that is of no use if you're not able to build products, if you're not able to show your expertise and build your caliber, right? So that is what I'm going to focus on, that, let us not waste time on understanding theoretical things and getting into a certification mode, question answer system mode, or that cracking a certificate and things like that. Those are like extra things. Once you have a very solid foundation, you can have a certificate which can aid you, right? So we need to go in a pure hands-on mode. Right? So this is a pure hands-on mode. Right from the second week, you will be writing code. Okay. And people who are in the delivery product kind of background, they also have to make their hands dirty. So that is my pure request, because that will certainly help you. It will not be rocket science. Whatever I'm teaching, I'm sure you will be able to grasp it. You might not do the end-to-end coding, but you will certainly, once your hands are dirty, you'll certainly understand the nuances. And based on your experience, you have to steer your knowledge accordingly. Another question about network and security engineer. As you see, the central piece where we are storing a lot of data, we are storing a lot of models. There is a lot of applications which are developed for security engineers, and the AI governance is what I was talking, right? This is where you need to have a lot of data security. This is purely about data, right? So we need to have a lot of data security, application security in place to see like, what data can be given to the model, whether it is having any PII, PCI information. If such things are there, how do we define roles so that the right people can use the right underlying data, right? So these are very, very important topics nobody is covering, right? So that we will be covering during the course, okay? So I will not be talking about network security and platform security in sense, but we will be talking on data security, right? If somebody is already from a security background, if they wish to get into this kind of security, then you could learn this course. Yeah, Shrujan, so if you do projects, yes, this course will help you. So what about Python libraries? We will be covering the entire Python libraries which are required for building AI and machine learning models. So we'll be covering during the course, we'll be covering Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Scikit-learn, and all the libraries we'll be covering during the course. There's a question on math required for data science. Math is essential for data science. We need to understand about algebra, statistics, probability. But during the course, I'll not be teaching that. What I'm thinking is to create entire course, mathematics for data science. I'll create like a video course, and that will be given to the entire audience. Okay, so that is like an assisted material. What we will be covering in our course is what I call it as applied AI. Okay, applied data science. That means that given a problem, how do we use AI to get quick results? So we will be understanding that. but understanding of mathematics, statistics, and probability, that is also good to have the knowledge. So we'll create additional material, and that will be provided to the course participants. We'll not be teaching Python here. I'll not be teaching basics of Python, but during the course, if you're following me along, you should be able to do Python for data science without any problem. All right, so create a ChatGPT kind of apps. Yes, we will be creating. As you saw in my first example, I was showing you an example of creating an end-to-end chatbot. We will know like how to create such kind of chatbots using the underlying LLMs. We will be using OpenAI, ChatGPT. We will be using Anthropic Cloud. We will be using Llama models, open source Llama models, DeepSeek models, and Grok APIs. If you are feeling all these terms are like very, very alien to you, please have some belief in me. I will ensure that you get the best of best output, right? I'm sure with the first class, it will be very, very alien, all the words which I'm using. But all I ask is you have to dedicate 2 months of your time with a very sincere effort. And I am sure that you will learn all those things. And this is more a customized course. So for example, you're not understanding certain things, you will spend some more time. We might have extra office hours for covering some of the practical examples. We will do module-based projects, which will tell like, okay, for the module, you'll do a project. You can use the project for pushing into GitHub, create your own project, or you can come up with some ideas. So I will encourage people to come up with their own ideas, because my time is limited. I am not here just as a trainer. I work full time. I work full time for a large banking corporation, and teaching is my profession, not my profession, my passion. So I love teaching. So I can give a little brief about myself. I have 19 years of experience, and for more than 12 years, I'm into the data area. And educational background, I have master's from BITS Pilani, specialization in data science. I am currently pursuing my PhD in AI ethics. I hopefully will be a doctor in another year or so once I complete my thesis. And by doing these courses, right, it will also sharpen my technical appetite. So that is my personal reason I do the courses, and I teach the courses so that I can also drive my team in the right direction. So I lead a large machine learning operations within my company. And eventually you'll know about me during the course. But for now, I think this introduction is decent enough. All right, so there is another interesting question. Are we going to learn cloud technologies? We will be learning cloud for data science. As I said, we need to have a deeper understanding on AI, but we also need to have peripheral understanding on cloud and DevOps. Okay, we will be learning cloud and DevOps also as a part of the course, but you'll not be getting into too much on cloud. I'll not be talking about different AWS services. That is not the purpose of the course. We will be learning important services for deploying your AI applications, right? How do I leverage cloud instead of deploying on-prem? How do I leverage cloud and do the deployment? So those things we will be understanding. At the same time, we will also be understanding DevOps concepts, like how do you deploy applications via Jenkins? How do you use Docker, Kubernetes for deploying your applications? So all those concepts, right, we will understand during the course. All right, I hope I have answered most of it. Apologies for a little extended time. These demos will take little more time, little time. So I hope your answers are answered. Just scrolling through the questions so that to see if they were answered. Perfect. So there is a message from our career IT team, Lakshmi Garu. She has put a message. Please reach out to them for any queries. They'll be happily able to help you assist any queries related to the course. Any technical queries, you let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Okay.
Hi, Sitaram. I have a question. Sorry
Yes.
for late. So does it covers any prompt engineering for this, for the prompts generation and everything?
We will cover prompt engineering, but earlier this year, people thought that prompt engineering is going to give multi-million-dollar. There were YouTube ads and all that, right? But that's not the reality. There's no roles like prompt engineer now because AI itself, you can use LLMs to generate auto prompts. And
Right.
we will see that, like, how do we, because prompt engineering also is an essential piece of generative AI. Like, how do we give right prompt so that it can give right results, right? So in our first
Right.
example, which I was telling that gather name and email address. Okay. So we need to give a prompt to exactly gather name and email address. So if your prompt is not right, then it will not be able to appropriately get that information. So we will learn that during the generative AI, we will learn how do we do the prompting, how does the base prompt works, how to fine tune the prompt. So that thing will learn, but it is not a prompt engineering course. And many people are selling that become a prompt engineer and you will earn $300K, right? That is not reality. Okay, please listen to me. So we will learn like how do we fine tune the LLM by giving right prompts, but that becomes one piece of the equation.
Okay. A straight question for you. So out of this, what is the major market right now in the that giving jobs? Major hype. Right. Let us assume I'm earning the good amount of money, 24K, 24 lakhs per annum. So if I want to, what perspective, which goal in this, which module would be effective if I want to go into AI modules?
Okay, again, this is a very the question is very situation or not situational. I'm not getting the word. Very personal for someone. For that, what I generally do is we will do a one-on-one counseling, and not specifically now, but one-on-one counseling which basically tell that according to your experience, your role, your job, the amount you're earning, the current previous background you have. So this is very specific to that. As somebody else was asking, right? So they are from service delivery background. They are 25 years experience in ERP background. They can be from QA background. So I can't give one single answer, and this is not applicable for everyone. So what I would recommend is if there is a possibility, we can have a discussion separately. Then they can see. But what
Okay, fine.
we
I
learn
got
during the
I got
course
it.
is to have a holistic understanding of entire end-to-end AI. Right? That's what we will learn through the course.
Oh, thanks.
Any other question, guys? I think we have to lock the doors. We are already 1.5 hours. If you are in the US time zones, you're already hitting your eyes will be closing. Right. So any further questions?
No,
We'll spend
Friday it will be late.
Yeah, thanks, Sitaram. Best of luck with your PhD. We'll get in touch, Suresh.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Sitaram, one question, Sitaram. So you have told that, regarding the ML ops, ML engineer, and ML tester. So do we spend more time on understanding the activities of ML ops and how do we do it? And then about ML engineer and ML tester. So do we have separate modules on this, or?
We will spend 20 to 25% of our course on ML engineer or ML ops itself. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
1/4 of our course is on that.
On ML ops.
ML ops, yes.
Okay. So when you say 25% of these activities, I mean, the course would be on ML ops. So does that include ML engineering and ML tester as well?
Yeah, ML engineering, ML tester I will talk, but I am not an ML tester, but I have recruited many ML testers, give them the job roles, what they have to do. So we'll talk on that. So the tools, whatever we use are same. So we use Selenium, we use JMeter, and we use API testing tools and so on. I can talk on that, like how do we do testing and things like that. But we will not be spending the course on ML testing, but I will talk on those things. We can spend 1-2 sessions on that.
Why I'm asking, because this ML engineer, I'm thinking that that role where we can, it's like based on my experience, I can think about the support activities for ML engineering. Does it make sense? I mean, I don't know if I'm framing it correct.
ML engineer will cover a lot, because that is very important, because that's the role which deploys the applications to production. So there is a lot of work there. In fact, I lead a ML engineering team, so it's my bias also. So I'll talk about practical deployment strategies. But yes, we will spend a decent time there.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll reach out to the organizers. So the actual course is going to start from Wednesday. Wednesday, 7 a.m. IST is the proposed time. Wednesday, which is what today is, what, 19th. Wednesday is 23rd of April is when the course will start. 7 a.m. IST. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. Bye.